Today we're speaking with Logan Raskin, the lead singer for Raskins. Now, of course, Logan, the band is basically just you and your brother. Is that correct?
Yeah, the band features myself and my twin brother Roger, but we have three other guys in the band with us that we tour and play out live with.
Okay, now I was curious because in looking on the credits, I noticed you guys are the only ones credited with playing on the album. So I was curious, do you play all the instruments?
Yes, we both played all the instruments on this record. There was one track where song number 5 on the track, Scream Out Loud, we had friend of ours come in and play guitar and bass on that particular track, but everything else was us.
Okay, and I was curious, how old were you and your brother when you guys first started playing?
Well, I mean, both of us have been involved in music our whole life. We grew up in a musical family, so both my parents are in the music industry for many years. My father did tons of musical theater, Broadway, and my mom was a jazz singer. So we kind of grew up in that family with that family musical background. So the two of us have kind of pretty much always, grew up doing music together, but probably. We started taking it a little more serious as we got older. We were kind of writing and composing music for some of our friends and some of our other friends' bands and stuff like that. And then the two of us started putting together our own bands and playing out throughout New York City. And then we just kind of snowballed from there. And eventually we, basically the Raskins. Originally, this project started out as a writing project.
Oh, okay.
We were originally writing a lot of music for TV and film at the time, and that was basically our main stem of work. And what had actually ended up happening was we were really getting a ton of email from fans pretty much all over the world asking where they can see the band live, or if there was a band, where they can buy the music and stuff like that. So for my brother and I, it was just really a matter of time. We felt from all the interest we had to put together this writing project that we had going, called which we were addressed as the Raskins, and then we put together the actual band, which is what we did. And then we went in and recorded this particular record. Took about a year to do that, and here we are. The Raskins debut album.
It's kind of amazing that's kind of an amazing story that, to hear it, the band literally, before you guys even performed, live or anything, that just took off basically off of, people hearing it off the internet. And I got to say it's amazing, too, to hear it start out as a songwriting project, because I think in listening to the album, one thing that is very clear to me in listening to it is how talented you guys are as far as the songwriting goes. I mean, to me, to make it in the indie band, you got to have the songs and be able to write the songs, if you know what I mean. And you guys clearly got the songwriting ability.
Well, no, I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, it was important to us, if we were going to really do this, to kind of put together a group of songs that we felt represented us. I mean, first and foremost, we're a rock band. We're very rock influenced. But being that we were composing music for so many years and writing for other artists, we were pretty much composing so many different styles. And our writing style, kind of changed with that. There's a lot of diversity to how we write music. And that really represents pretty much who we are as my brother and I as musicians. So we really try to have the songs represent that on this record. And I pretty much think that we did that. We kind of take the fans kind of through, through a roller coaster ride with the record. There's some straightforward rockers on there, and there's some pretty cool, folkier type ballads, rock stuff, and then there's some, poppier, radio friendly stuff on there. So we really tried to incorporate all of that with this record.
Yeah, I got to agree with that what you just said there, because I mean there's really, listening to this CD here, there's something for everybody on here, and anybody who's never heard you guys, I would kind of describe you guys as even though you're a lot younger, and you probably weren't even around when the Beatles were, you got a Beatles sound, you kind of like a Beatles with a hard rock edge. I hear a little bit of a Cheap Trick and maybe Goo Goo Dolls in there. And so I think that's another great thing is you guys you got different kind of sounds to what you do. I mean, like.
Well, I tell you, growing up, Jason, especially the way we grew up. I mean, obviously with our parents. I mean, we had all their influence. I mean, they were always blasting their music in the house, from like Tony Bennett to Sarah Vaughan to Nat King Cole to Tom Jones to Frank Sinatra. I mean, so we grew up with that, but also being in the city. As we got older, my brother and I started going out to the clubs and stuff, and at a relatively young age, I mean, 12, 13, 14, I was getting into the clubs, and, I ended up seeing bands like the Ramones or the New York Dolls or the Talking Heads.
Wow.
Or, even Simon and Garfunkel and Richie Havens and Steely Dan. I mean, all these New York bands, and so we had such a diversity of music that we were exposed to, that, it's just that it's for us, composing music, it's, sky's the limit with us, and I really didn't want to be limited to what we wanted to put out there to the public, and I felt like we had the opportunity to do this our way, and I think that we accomplished that. I mean, we're pretty happy with this, with the first record, and we're looking forward to doing a tremendous amount of touring for, the rest of this year and all of next year. I mean, that's really just our main focus. It's just to tour as much as possible and get as many of our fans and people across the country and even out of the country the chance to see this band live.
And let me ask you, as far as writing songs, like what would you say is the biggest difference when you're writing for somebody else as opposed to when you're writing for the Raskins?
Well, I mean, there is a big difference. I mean, when you're writing for someone else, obviously, you kind of have to shut off, you can't get too attached to what it is that you're doing. I mean, my brother and I take great pride in the quality of music that we produce, but, when you're composing for some of these other music supervisors and for TV and film, they might want something very, very specific, and you're creating and writing music for a client, and basically you do what you need to do to make them happy. And a lot of times, we'll compose a piece of music, give it to the client, the music supervisor, and they're like, and they love it. And I'm just like, well, wait, I don't think it's done yet. We could still do this, or we could still do this, or in my mind, it could still be about that. And they're like, no, it's perfect, and you just have to say so. You got it. You know what I mean? It just have to kind of let go. So, basically it's about pleasing them, but, when we're writing music for ourselves and writing music for our record, I mean, we pretty much can take as much time as we need to get it to where we're satisfied with it, you know what I mean, and where we're happy with it, and sometimes that could take a short amount of time, and sometimes that could take a tremendously long amount of time, but we're not under a clock or pressure as far as that's concerned, so, it's quite different when you're composing for someone else.
And let me ask you, being that you and your brother are twins, because
Are you home already?
being that you and your brother are twins, I got to ask you, like even looking at the photo on the back cover, you guys, you can tell your brothers, obviously, in the picture to me, you don't look identical. I got to ask you, not just in the band, but in your life in general, I was curious, did you guys always fight the twin thing? I mean, did you always want to have kind of your separate identity, or is it something you kind of ran with?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and it really stems from how we were raised by our parents, and what's funny is my mom actually had 3 boys in 1 year. So she had our brother Micah, who's exactly 1 year older, who actually, Micah Raskin, is our business manager.
Wow.
He handles all our business affairs and everything. And then a year later, my mom had twins. So for my mom, it was important not to, because being that we were twins, but
Yeah,
she didn't
yeah.
want it. She wanted us all to kind of have equal attention, and she never really pushed the twin thing. Like, she never dressed us alike.
Yeah.
She never, like, you know what I'm saying? Where, like, I see, like, these set twins, and, like, they dress up exactly alike, and the parents make them, they're like, hey, look at my twins. It was never like that with us. They wanted us each to have our separate identities, and they treated us in such a way, whereas we always felt we had our separate identities. But Roger and I mean, maybe it's just that the natural powers of having an identical twin. We were always very, very close, and we were always spending time together. And to this day, I mean, we live together, we work together, we're in a band together, we write music together, we do everything together. And it seems like as we got older, we wanted more and more to, push the twin thing. We just had fun with it, and maybe dressing alike more. And we never did that when we were younger. But when we got older, we enjoyed dressing alike and having people comment on that and playing around with people, possibly switching on people, just having fun with the whole twin thing. It was appealing to us, But I think that's due to the fact that my parents didn't really force that on us at such a young age. And to this day, Roger and I, we love being twins, man. We're extremely close, So I probably think it's due to my parents how we were raised,
I imagine you guys must have had fun playing jokes, man, on your teachers and stuff.
My mom, and it's funny, my mom, because I asked my mom one day, actually it was Roger, he came home from school, and he asked my mom, he's like, do you mind if we ever, like, switch class or switch on tests? He goes, look, anything you guys can get away with, not get in trouble, you have my blessing. So we went, okay. So, when you're going to school in, like, the New York City school system, there's hundreds of kids in one class. These schools are huge. There's thousands of kids in these schools. So no one knows, most of the people didn't even know I had a twin brother. So, like, switching on classes and stuff like that was so easy because they would never even think that you had a twin brother or anything like that. So we did that quite often. We had a lot of fun with it, switching classes and switching on tests and stuff like that. And what's funny is we actually we shot this movie not too long ago, which was Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill, that movie Jack and Jill.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And, so my brother and I were in that. The movie is basically a story about him being a fraternal twin with him and his sister. He plays two people in the movie, which is very funny. So they hired a bunch of identical twins to be in the movie to kind of tell these very funny stories about being identical twins. So Adam Sandler had my brother and I, got us into the film, and we were telling a bunch of very funny stories about us growing up being twins and stuff like that. It was cool, Adam's from also Queens, New York City, so we actually had a lot in common with him. But it was a lot of fun hanging out with all those different twins too, and hearing their stories growing up. It was hilarious.
And how did you guys, get the opportunity to appear in the film? Did they put out like flyers and you guys just respond to their ad, or did you know somebody?
Oh, as far as the movie, well, we had agents that kind of handle that stuff.
Oh, cool, cool.
We had different agents that handle us. Obviously, we had agents that handle us for music, and then agents that handle us for submissions like that, for like movie opportunities and TV and stuff like that. So my brother and I kind of do a lot of different things, but our main focus is music. And it's music has been a part of our life since we were very, very, very young. So that's really the main focus for us. But we love the entertainment business. We love all sides of it. And a lot. There's a lot of calls that come in to our agent about twins and stuff. And if we have the time to do it and we're home or we're not touring, we'll be more than happy to go out and do it. We've done stuff on like Comedy Central, these twins, and obviously the Adam Sandler film and some other funny stuff we've done. But yeah, if we have the time, we're more than happy to do that kind of thing.
And let me ask you, Logan, like you said, you got a pretty huge fan base, even just off the internet. That's what got the album out and everything. I was curious, are you guys still able to go out in public, or you find you get more and more recognized the more you go out these days?
definitely get more recognized now, you know, as the popularity grows with my brother and I and the band and stuff. I mean, it wasn't always like that, you know. I mean, when Raj and I started this, you know, at least, you know, even before we put together, decided we were going to record the record, it was important for us to build up our fan base online, you know, and to build up our fan base in our local markets, which is New York City, obviously, and Hollywood, California. So we worked quite hard at that, you know. We got our videos early on and got those up on YouTube and really pushed our marketing on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and really pushed our local markets, you know, and doing everything in a grassroots way. You know, we put together our own street teams and put out flyers and posters and really worked our local fan base markets to build up those markets and kind of grew it from there, you know. So, you know, I mean, our popularity grew. It was a slow process, but we really stuck with it, you know, and then the videos just kind of went slightly viral online, you know. It was kind of a strange thing. I mean, we never really expected that to happen, but, you know, fans really took to the videos and we, you know, just kind of grew from there and you know, we recorded the record and then just started doing a bunch of touring. You know, we did this winter tour. We called it the Raskin's Winter Rock Tour.
Okay.
So we did a whole bunch of shows in the wintertime, basically where a lot of bands weren't going out touring because, like in the Northeast and stuff like that, the weather was so treacherous. Raj and I was like, well, why don't we go out? You know, because people didn't want to go see music. I was like, well, all right, let's do it. And we went to places like Syracuse and Buffalo and Chicago and Philly and all these places in the middle of these snowstorms. It was crazy, but you want to know something? We filmed and documented the whole thing, stuck it up on YouTube, and it was crazy. Like, we did it as like a series, and like our fans were like following it along as we posted each video up. It was really cool, man, and like more and more people were coming down to the shows. It was very cool, you know, and we just grew the fan base online, you know, and then we had the opportunity this spring to go out with Scott Weiland. So we did the whole Scott Weiland.
Wow,
show,
wow.
Just really awesome, you know, playing in front of those crowds, and you know, the fans just really took to us out there, and we sold just a ton of product out there, and you know, and things even blew up from there. I mean, so we want to just keep things growing and keep the tours going. You know, we have some huge tours planned for this summer, which we're incredibly excited about, and hopefully we can, like I said, just keep things moving forward and keep things growing, and you know, sky's the limit. We'll see where this all takes us.
And it seems like for Raskins, you guys are a type of band that could play with, you know, various types of, you know, different styles of band. I mean, from, like you said, Scott Weiland to maybe, you know, Bon Jovi and, you know, Goo Goo Dolls, everybody in between, you know.
Yeah, you know, and like, I mean, I'm into all those bands. You know, we have some really good people on our team, you know, from, you know, Sony Red and our agents and stuff that work with us that get us a lot of really good touring opportunities. We're scheduled right now to go out with a band called Saving April.
Oh, okay, wow.
We just recently, actually, like our first show with them starts up again June 27th at the Machine Shop in Michigan, Flint, Michigan. But we actually just, you know, our agent just got the word that we might be doing the whole Motley Crue tour with Alice Cooper.
Wow.
So that's like crazy, you know. So basically, we'll pretty much find out on Monday if that's all going to happen. But we put together the proposal for them, and they want us to do the whole tour. So that will end up being about 67 shows with Motley Crue and Alice Cooper, and that would start July 2nd.
Wow.
And we basically go through the end of November. So pretty excited at the possibility of that happening. It looks pretty good. So we'll see.
Yeah, that definitely helped.
It'll definitely be an exciting summer.
That definitely helped raise, you know, profile. And I got to ask you, are you much? Well, it sounds like you are. I was going to ask, are you much of a Motley Crue fan?
Well, I mean, of course, you know, I'm a Motley Crue fan, Alice Cooper fan. I mean, any rock. I mean, I grew up listening to those guys, and amongst 1,000
Yeah. Wow.
And it looks pretty good. So I don't wanna get too overly excited yet. But I spoke with the agent today, and he's pretty excited about it. So
Well, let me just say,
be cool, Logan. And we'll find out on Monday.
I just say good luck on that, and I just think you guys would be the perfect band to open that. Both Alice and Motley Crue, they're very theatrical shows. Do you guys have much theatrics to your live show as well?
Well, we do, but what we really try to take pride in is trying, and the thing about our music, and the thing that's important to Raj and I, and that we try to get across to our fans, is that what you see is what you get with us. When you come see us live, we don't do a lot of effects. We don't basically, we all plug straight into our amps and we play. You're not going to hear tremendous amount of effects on my vocals with auto-tune and all this other crap. We want to be a straightforward rock band that's as real as it gets and as raw as it gets. And we're very, very tight. I mean, we work very hard at being tight. But we plug straight in. We're high energy. We give the fans, and every night we play each show 110% of ourselves. And it comes across. I don't want to have too much going on. I mean, look, what made Motley Crue tremendous and great is that the pyrotechnics, and they put on this amazing show, like Kiss as well.
Yeah.
I love both of those bands, But we pride ourselves on kind of dumbing it down and being simple and keeping it simple and raw. And we really want people to try, if they can, to focus on the music and the quality of the music, which I feel that it really is. And I don't want anything to detract from that.
I mean, like you said, you're giving people a real deal, if you will, and like I said, anybody who hasn't heard this CD, I suggest they go out and get it, because it's just from top to bottom. There's not a bad song on it. I like I say, I think my favorite track right now is On the Radio. It's kind of got a poppy, commercial, radio-friendly feel.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you saying that. In fact, that song means a lot to us. I mean, the song, it's called On the Radio, and it's pretty much, in my opinion, every band growing up or every band when they first start out, they all have a dream of hearing their songs on the radio. And basically that song was written about the first time my brother and I heard our music on the radio, and it's a moment, and I think for every musician, you never forget that first time you hear your song on the radio. And for us, it was a very meaningful moment, and it was definitely something I felt that it was important enough to us to write a song about, and I wanted that song to be actually a very radio, pop-friendly song, almost anthem-like, and I think that we accomplished that particular song.
Yeah, I think I really do think you accomplished that. Now, let me ask you, do you remember what was that first station that you heard the song? The first radio that you guys ever heard your song on? The station?
Yeah, it was in New York. It was 102.7.
Wow.
In New York, it's actually a Long Island radio station that picked it up. And yeah, it was kind of like a classic rock type radio station, but yeah, they were, they had a new show that was on once a week that was basically spinning new artists and new music and stuff like that. So yeah, they got a hold of one of our demos at the time, and we heard that they were going to play it, and yeah, that was the very first time we heard our stuff on the radio, and it was pretty meaningful and impactful moment for both of us. We were actually driving across the Throgs Neck Bridge, and we had the radio on at the time. I think I almost drove the car off the bridge.
Yeah, and again, I can tell people, the best way I describe this album, I say it's great pop ear candy, if you know what I mean. I mean, there's not a bad song on here. Another track I really love is Need Another Hero. Now, back in the 80s when I was growing up, every great major rock band had their guitar hero, great frontman, if you will. I was curious, when you were growing up, did you have anybody in particular who was really a hero? It doesn't even have to be a musician or somebody, but just somebody in your life that was somebody you really looked up to and admired?
Yeah, no, I mean, great question.
Yeah.
And back, years ago, I mean, the city was kind of a pretty gnarly place. I mean, it's cleaned up a lot, now, but, back in the day, it was, when I was a lot younger, it was a pretty sketchy place, and riding around in the subways was kind of crazy. And there was this gang that used to see in the subway all the time called the Guardian Angels, and these guys were actually kind of like vigilante type guys, but they would protect. They weren't police, but they were there to protect the public and make sure the subways were safe to ride, and they were just a self-organized, put-together type of gang, but they wore these red berets and they wore these T-shirts that said the Guardian Angels. And as a young kid riding the subways, I used to see these guys, and it was just for me, that was a huge impact for me. It's something that I kind of grew up with, and I never forgot that. And I always thought to myself, well, how cool these guys are, to be doing something like that. They work for nothing, and they put their lives on the line. I mean, to my eyes, these guys were heroes, and they were just doing it just to do it, to make the streets a safer place, So that was originally what this song was written about. We all need another hero, and I just feel like we don't have enough heroes in our inner cities, whether it be Chicago or LA or Miami or New York or Detroit or Maryland or wherever, But growing up, as far as having heroes, I mean, my father was definitely probably my brother and I, our biggest hero. I mean, going to see my father perform when I was 6 and 7 and 8 years old was probably the most impact anyone could have on our musical career ever. I mean, my dad was in some of the biggest Broadway shows. He was played the lead role in West Side Story, Annie Get Your Gun, Oklahoma, South Pacific.
Wow.
Damn Yankees. My dad was in all those shows, so I used to go see my father in all those shows. Plus, my dad used to tour with his own orchestra, so he used to take us out on the road with him. I used to go see my dad perform on the road and stuff like that. So it was pretty crazy, seeing my dad do all that, But my first rock show I ever went to was Judas Priest Kiss at Nassau Coliseum. My parents took us.
Wow, how cool is that?
8 years old, and of course, Ace Frehley. I mean, as far as guitar heroes, Ace Frehley was like my brother, one of our biggest guitar heroes. I mean, we love all the guys at Kiss, but we're huge fans of Ace Frehley. So those are the three right there.
Wow.
Heroes right there in a nutshell. That just popped into my
Oh no,
mind.
that's great. That's a great story. I was curious now, being a guy who grew up in New York, where, like you're saying, the main form of transportation there is, taking the subway and that. What's it like when first time you came to a place like Los Angeles and you see it's kind of the total opposite, where there's not so many people taking the subway, but it's just everybody in their car, and there's just such a huge difference in traffic.
Very different. It's very different. It's a different world. I mean, the people are different. The vibe is different. Not to say which one is
Better. Yeah.
or indifferent, but it's just very different. I mean, Los Angeles and Hollywood is very spread out. Los Angeles in general is very spread out. The mentality of people is very, very different. I mean, living in New York City, in Manhattan, it's a different vibe there. It's a different lifestyle. You don't need a car. You're dealing with crowds, and there's a different energy and excitement and vibe that there's a certain pulse that happens in New York City that it's amazing. It's almost addicting,
Yeah.
It's something that I loved being a part of. I felt like I had to be a part of it. I had to always be out. I had to always be in the scene, go to different clubs, see what bands were playing, and rollerblading around the city at night at 2 a.m. I love that. I miss that. But LA, you need a car to get everywhere. You're sitting in traffic everywhere. It's like you play shows in LA, and everyone stands there with their arms crossed, looking at you, and you're trying to wonder, are these people digging me or not? And it's just, yeah, they dig you. It's just kind of how it is. It's just a different vibe, and it took me a little time to adjust to it, get used to it. And it's funny, when we had first come to Roger and I, the music itself too was very, very different. I mean, basically in New York, you had like a lot of these retro, very cool bands that were happening at the time, like, you know, the Strokes or like the Bravery or kind of stuff like that. And then like in Los Angeles, you had bands such as like Limp Bizkit and Korn and the new metal stuff going on. So the scene was very different as well. You know, it was almost like it was mod-like in New York City, and yet in LA, it was all like these guys wearing Dickies shorts and Adidas and their hats on backwards, doing the metal rock rap thing, which I'm not saying I don't like. I like that stuff, but it was just very different, and very different at the time as to what I was into, you know. So that took some adjusting to get used to, and I was afraid if how the scene was going to really take to my brother and our style of music coming from New York. But I didn't want to change. I didn't want to adapt. I wanted to stick to our style and what it was that we loved to do, and we did. You know, it took a lot of time, but here we are, finally starting to break through and have a good success.
And I was curious. Obviously, you guys are obviously pretty big in New York, where you're from. But is there anywhere like in the world where you guys have found that you're very popular, but it kind of surprises you?
Well, it seems like we actually have done a little bit of touring over in Europe and stuff. We went over to Australia for a little bit, did a mini tour over there, and did a couple of shows in Italy and in France. And I mean, I have to tell you, man. I mean, the people in Europe love their rock and roll, man. They love it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, wow.
And we got a lot of fans just from doing that. In Australia as well. I mean, the people over there are just so nice, you know, and we're so into it, you know. So, I mean, I just feel as though, like, you know, Europe, haven't had a chance to get over to Asia yet, like Japan and stuff. But I mean, it's just like Europe and in general, and just the people over there are so hungry for rock and roll. And I just think like the fans are so into it. And I can't wait to get back over there and do some major tours over there, like in Spain and back in Italy and France and England and Germany, you know, and even get back over to Australia. So we hope to do that. We're going to stay in the U.S. probably for the rest of this year, and then there's already talks about sending us back over to Australia in January for their summertime, and then getting over to Spain, Germany, Italy, and France, just kind of doing the whole European tour thing, and then hopefully eventually making our way over to Japan. You know, I would love to do that. And even South America. Who knows, maybe we'll do Lollapalooza down in South America, and I think that comes up in March, so.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame like you're...
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame like you're saying that, you know, American rock fans aren't more appreciative like they are in, you know, Europe. I mean, it seems like any rock band can go over to Europe and, you know, the fans just open their arms for you guys, and I think it's a shame.
Yeah, you know,
yeah.
I just observe. I'm just an observer.
Yeah.
I don't judge, you know.
No, not judging.
What I see and what I feel, and, you know, it's intense over there. It's awesome.
And talking about, talking about the power of the internet, I mean, it must amaze you. I mean, you guys must get emails and stuff from people all over the world, places that you guys haven't even played in, and think, wow, man, they're listening to our record right now, you know, over there in Russia where we haven't even performed, or, you know, something like that.
Nope, I get constantly on Twitter, on Facebook, I get hit up from India.
Wow.
I have a ton of fans from India. It's crazy. They're like telling me, you guys gotta come over here, you guys will sell out.
Wow.
You know, I'm talking to my agent, I'm like, dude, we gotta go over to India, man. He thinks I'm crazy. I'm like, what? Is India not a part of the world? What's the problem?
Yeah. Hey, they're buying our record, you know, let's get over there.
Yeah, what do I care? I'll go. The one thing about this band is we'll go anywhere. I love fans of music, and we love to play. We'll go anywhere, and I tell our label, and I tell our agent, I'm like, get ready, because all we want to do for the next few years is tour.
Yeah,
tour the heck out of this album. That's what our plans are.
I really enjoyed talking to you, Logan. Before I let you go, though, I have just a few more questions. I wanted to ask you now, when you and your brother Roger first started performing, I was kind of curious, did you guys were you allowed to kind of gravitate towards, you know, what you want to do? Like, for example, did mom and dad say, well, we think Logan would be the better frontman, Roger, you're going to be the guitar player? How did you guys decide who was going to do what?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's just it's something that kind of happened rest naturally. What's funny is Roger and I both have really good and strong voices, but they're different. You know, Roger is talented enough to front this band himself. He has a strong enough voice, he can front this band himself. But the tone of Roger's voice, like Roger has a wider range voice than I do.
Yeah.
Probably a little sweeter tone, whereas me, my range isn't as high as him, but there's a little more rasp to it.
Yeah.
There's kind of a different texture to it. So Roger's like always singing the high harmonies, and just together, if we just create that perfect sound, you know.
Yes.
And it's funny, I started composing music on piano, and just was doing most of my composing on piano, whereas Roger just fell in love with guitar and just had a love for composing music on guitar. So his guitar skills actually are a lot better than mine. So it was, like I said, it was just one of those natural progressions that just kind of happened naturally. And he loves it. He loves playing guitar live. He loves it. And me, I love entertaining. It fits my personality. I love being a front man. And, you know, it just kind of works perfectly with the Raskins and our jobs inside of the Raskins.
It's funny you say that because, you know, another thing that's really quite obvious in listening to the record is, besides, you know, the great lead vocals that you do, there's a really strong background, you know, harmony vocals, background vocal sound, you know, much like in the, you know, classic Van Halen, like what Michael Anthony used to do in that.
Oh, yeah.
And the last thing I want to ask you about is kind of like your guys' method of songwriting. I mean, like, typically, do you, Roger, get together and, like, does it start off usually like with you playing the piano or him with the guitar riff, and you kind of just harmonize and come up with the words, or do you usually come up with the lyrics first?
You know, it's something that it's done so many different ways with us. I mean, we both sleep with acoustic guitars by our bed.
Yeah.
We both sleep with recording devices by our bed. And we're both constantly recording riffs and ideas and melodies and vocal melodies. But we both, you know, we both kind of write music a very similar way. I mean, we'll pick up the acoustic guitar and we'll just start piecing chords together and singing melodies over those chords and stuff like that. And we both do that because we're both pretty much consider ourselves singers before guitar players or even songwriters, you know. And so we kind of come from the mentality of writing a song from a vocal mentality and trying to come up with harmonies and melodies over chords that really feel good to us. And we both kind of tend to do that. But we work together, we work separate, you know. I mean, sometimes I'll have songs that are incomplete and I'll go to Raj and he'll finish it up for me, and it's just like he comes up with parts that I would never think of, and vice versa. Or sometimes he'll just have a complete song and show it to me. I'm just like, man, that thing is perfect, you know. And we'll get it into the recording studio and work on it, and you know, we work on it together, and we just kind of have our strengths and our weaknesses, but we work really well together, and we seem to have a system down where we can write a lot of music and produce a lot of good quality stuff these days.
And I was curious, you know, I always love to ask guys that are brothers. Like, I read in interviews where, you know, Eddie and Alex Van Halen said, you know, they got, because they're brothers, they got like a special communication where they can feel what the other one's playing off of, or, you know, they can they have a special connection more so than the other guys in the band. Do you guys find you have the same type of thing going?
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, not aside from the fact that we're twins and we're close like that. I mean, just the fact that we spend so much time together, my brother and I. We have a lot of the same influences and likes and dislikes, and we're so close. Just in that regard, you're connected. So can you imagine, like, when you're playing music with that person?
Yeah.
You know, it's a great feeling, and it's something that just feels very natural to the two of us. And we always know what we're thinking and feeling on stage, and we vibe off that. Now the trick is to try to find, when you're playing with other artists, to try to get them close to that level with us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's not just about Roger and I on stage. It's about we have 5 guys on stage. So we try to get these guys where we're all connected like that. And we have things that we do. I mean, we rehearse very hard. We practice very hard. We try to be as professional as possible to get everybody connected and everybody on the label, through our management and our agents, and it's great. We got a great group of people behind us, and it's leads for a very exciting future for us.
And does it help, like you said, your other brothers involved in the management of that? Does it help to being a family affair, but you have so many people involved, but from your family helping you guys behind the scenes that you can trust these people as opposed to just knowing these are just people in ties and suits that are just helping you just for making a buck, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course. I mean, look at it. You have your family involved. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, but it's not like, as far as our older brother is concerned, being that he's our brother is amazing, and having him on board is amazing, but he's incredible when it comes to business, I mean, anyone would be lucky to have him as a business manager. I mean, the kid's an animal when it comes to business, But just the fact that he's family and is our brother is like, it's incredible. And to have that trust factor there, I trust his decisions, and I trust that he has our best interest at hand. And that's a powerful thing, And even with Roger and I together, we always have each other's back, with our decisions, and there are a lot of tough decisions that have to be made, and it's really cool to have family involved to help you through those decisions. And the music industry is a hairy beast, man. It's a tough animal, and it's nice to have a strong foundation and crew of people, especially family, that are directly involved, and that's really been one of the main reasons why we've had the success we've had.
And I got to say, even though this is just you guys' debut album, I mean, and listening to you got 12 tracks on here, and they don't sound identical. They all really stand out on their own. Like I said, the songwriting really stands out. You got a real great rock sound, and I got to say, like, again, it's just your first album, but there is what I would call the Raskin sound. So on that note, I got to ask you, when you go in to do the next album, do you plan to make another group of tunes that just kind of have this sound, or do you see some progression when you guys go in to do the next album?
Well, we're definitely going to progress. I mean, it's we pride ourselves in growing as musicians and as songwriters, and we really want to try to push the envelope. But there's one thing that you can always count on the Raskin for, and that is you're always going to hear a hook in the song. You're always going to hear harmonies in the song. For my brother and I, it's important to come through with strong choruses. We want music that people can sing along to, feel good music. We try to have positive messages in our music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we want people to feel good about us and the music that they're listening to when they're listening to a Raskin's track, and that's important to us. We want to just keep growing with that vibe. We have a tremendous amount of song and a large body of work, so I mean, I can't wait to get onto the second record. I think about it every day, and I think about, wow, it's going to be even better than this debut record. So I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be even better, and hopefully the fans will be looking forward to anticipating another great record from us.
I mean, me myself, like you said, this is a great debut album. It was a great place.